Hello and welcome to the GMBN Tech Show, where today I'm joined by Rich Payne from GMBN fame.
Yes, hello all, how are you doing? Today we're going to be talking a few different things, but first we've got the new Canyon Strive, Anna.
New, and the Antidote Wood Sprite has just come out.
Yikes, and there's also a Cotic steel prototype e-bike.
All of the buzzwords.
Crikey, yeah, that and much, much more, all on the Tech Show.
So the topic today is, have bike sizes gone a little bit mad? They're all over the place at the moment. Yep. People are riding mediums when they should be smalls. Reaches are longer than ever, I would say. Longer, slacker, lower is... I mean, are you even a mountain bike brand if you haven't brought out a longer, slacker, lower bike these days?
That is true. Bike sizing has gone a bit crazy over the past sort of few years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Things are getting humongous. So I would have always been a large, always have been, probably always will be. But actually with modern day sizing, I'm creeping into the mediums. And I'm 6 foot on the dot. What's going on there?
Well, funny you should say that, because obviously the new Canyon Strive has just come out, and this is kind of what sparked this debate. And if we look at Jack Moyer, who is Canyon's leading EWS racer, who won the EWS series last year, fastest guy on an enduro bike at the moment. He's over 6 foot, so he's taller than you.
Get on.
And he was on a large on the old Strive. Now, apparently, he's on a medium.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Well, interesting, because obviously his large Strive, the old version, was quite heavily modified with various spacers here, there and everywhere to jack up the front end and things like that. Obviously that has been addressed in this new version where they've heightened it, obviously done the whole longer, lower, slacker treatment. And yeah, he's bumped down to a medium, which for a dude over 6 foot is a bit crazy actually when you think about it.
It is if we go on sizing alone, but if you look at the geometry, the new Strive is actually pretty massive. This is a big, big bike. They are designing this bike to just go fast, and they want it to be big, long, longer, slacker, lower. Well, not lower, but longer. And if you look at the reach on a medium is actually around about the same as like a large on most bikes. So
it is, yeah, we checked this out, didn't we?
Had a look for you, didn't we?
Yeah.
You would actually be on possibly either a medium or a large for the new Strive.
Yeah, so let's do a comparison. So my Orbea Rallon is a 485 reach in a large. The Strive, the new Strive, in a large is over 500. I think it was like 500 to 510, wasn't it? Depending on the shapeshifter, on whether it's on or not. So actually a 20 mil almost grow in reach is sizable.
It's big. Would you consider going down to a medium then to keep the reach you're used to, or are we going to trust companies in that they say you're a large, therefore go for a large?
I think it comes down to rider feel. So for me, I call me a bit old school because I am a bit old, but I actually do like the bike to be a little bit smaller so you can throw it around and move it about and stuff. Whereas kids these days are all about the longer, lower, slacker, so they're getting the old raked out head angles and all that jazz. Yeah. But actually, I think it's got to come down to rider feel at the end of the day. Now, it's very tricky when you're just buying a bike off of numbers because you don't actually get to try it. But I think it depends on how you like your bike to ride.
I think it's really important to note that we all look at reach and we all compare reach, and it is a useful number, but it's not the only number on a geometry chart, is it here? There's other things that are going to come into play, top tube, angles, all sorts. Even the bottom bracket height is going to make a bike either more manoeuvrable or less manoeuvrable. Yeah. So it's not fair to just look at reach, although it gives you a sort of a good idea of when you stood up riding.
Sure. The longer reaches and stuff like that, there are advantages to it because, you know, it puts the rider more in the middle of the bike, which suits certain tracks when it gets bigger and faster and things like that and rougher. So yeah, I think looking at the numbers does help, but I don't think it's the be all and end all.
No. Well, I mean, obviously people are moving towards longer reach these days. It is more modern. It is betterer-ish if you've not gone too far, because a longer reach means you're a bit more stable, you can get more centralised on the bike. But obviously that limit, as long as it still fits you. You can't just keep going longer and longer and it getting better and better. No. It doesn't work like that. No. But I'm interested to know, if you viewers out there, if you looked at a geometry chart, would you know what bike would fit you, regardless of whether it says small, medium, large? Personally, I would compare it to other old bikes, and I've ridden a lot of bikes, so I've got a little bit of an advantage in that I can go, right, my Rallon is this, I like the way that is, therefore I'm going to match up like as close as possible on a new bike.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of doing it, isn't it?
But could you look at a geometry chart and know which size fits you? Let us know down in the comments below, and let's get this debate rolling. Are they too big? Is sizes all over the place? Let us know. So the big subject in the news today is that Canyon have finally launched that new Strive.
Oh.
Yeah. In case you hadn't known from our topic previously. So the Strive has not been updated since 2019, which seems like a long time when it's your flagship race bike. But they've spent so much time perfecting the Spectral that it's kind of waited for that. And Canyon say that being able to have that time on the Spectral, perfecting the shorter travel 29er trail bikes, meant that it's freed up the space for the Strive to be a pure enduro race machine. This is all about speed between the tapes. So this is your kind of bike, no?
Yeah, that's right up there.
This is my kind of bike.
Yeah.
So here's some pictures of it on the screen now. The updates, we've still got the Shapeshifter 2.0 remains, which means you can adjust the seat and head angle by 1.5 degrees. And it also flips the bottom bracket by 15 mils as well. And it also changes the travel by 10 millimeters, which is what your standard flip switch doesn't do. And we've got a slacker head angle of 64.5 degrees. If you put it into shred mode, that means it's 63 degrees, so super slack.
I like the idea of a shred mode.
Flip that thing.
Nice.
We've also got the steeper seat angle at 78 degrees, much needed if it's going to be a winch and plummet kind of enduro bike. Chainstays are 435 across all sizes, not adjusted. And the reach is the big thing that we've obviously already talked about.
She's a whopper.
She is a whopper. So the small is a 455 millimeters, which is usually around about a medium type bike. Yeah. The medium is now 480. A large is a 503 millimeters, and the extra large is a whopping 530. So I don't think even Doddy needs to go for an extra large this time.
That's massive, isn't
Pretty sure he will be on a large. Also, the breaking news is they've put a reach adjuster into the headset. So basically you can have 5 mils of adjustment on that reach as well if you should want to.
Wow.
So we've only got 2 builds on the Canyon. We've got the Underdog build, which is what quote unquote the lower spec, starting at £4,849, and the CFR, which is the XTR build, which is £6,099. We don't have US or Australian just yet, sorry. But yeah, good looking bike, what we're saying.
Pretty snazzy. Yeah, I like that. That's right up my street, like you said. Solid looking race bike, go fast.
Yeah.
But what about this? This is the 2022 brand new Antidote Wood Sprites. Now derived from their Carbon Jack, this is their trail bike. 135 mil of travel, 29er, 140 or 150 mil up front. A single rocker link. Do you know what? I'm not particularly tech. What does that mean?
I think they just basically wanted to put the shock, it's almost like behind the rear triangle, because it let them free up space in sort of designing the front triangle and getting sort of a lower standover clearance and things like that.
To me, I like it.
It does. It's not bad, is it?
It looks badass.
It is.
Basically, it's still a pretty aggressive bike. So it's a 65.5 degree head angle, a 76.6 degree seat angle with a chainstay of 450 mil. Now the sizing here is actually like a lot of, I don't know how to put it.
Common, I would say. It's a typical trail bike geometry.
Numbers. Yeah, so a reach of 450 in a medium, 485 in a large, and a 515 in an extra large. And complete bikes start from 7,800 Great British pounds.
Yes, it's not bad.
It's pretty good. It's a very good looking bike. And if you've ever seen their dark matter, their downhill bike, that thing is actually stunning.
It does look good.
So Interesting.
Yeah, the wood spray is going to be a bit steeper, so it's 65.5 degree head angle. So already just looking at that number, we know this is a trail bike. It's not an enduro bike. And the Antidote basically say they want it to be manageable and encouraging people to get airborne.
Yeah,
but this is a trail bike at the end of the day. This is not for just plummeting downhill.
But those numbers wouldn't have been too far off of enduro bikes not too long ago, obviously. So
true.
Actually, those numbers are still pretty aggressive, I think, for a trail bike. I think they're good.
Maybe we're just riding more aggressive stuff these days. Who knows?
Who knows? What we got next?
Meanwhile, up north in the UK,
way up.
Cotic have been prototyping an e-bike. Now, I know we're probably going to get a lot of hate for talking about an e-bike again, but guys, look at this second prototype edition of the Cotic e-bike. It's basically a steel flare Flare Max, or is it the Rocket Max? I think it's like a Flare Rocket Max steel front end. A flocket.
It's a flocket.
Yeah, it's a Max. And it's basically got the battery mounted underneath, and they're playing with Shimano steps as well under the bottom bracket.
Yeah, good solid motor and battery combo, that.
And look at it. I mean, it's got this sort of like yellow and pink paint fleck, which I'm sure you're going to be well on board with it.
I like the colour. You got to get some colour in there.
You're known for your wild colours, Rich.
Jazzy. Too jazzy?
Maybe a little too jazzy. Apparently, the guys who put together the frame for Cotic, they were told to just paint it with whatever was left in their gun, and it just happened to be yellow and pink.
Wow.
I'm not sure if I believe that. It looks like he's showing off, to be honest.
It's like a Mr. Blobby edition.
It is a Mr. Blobby.
But for all those that know Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. But apparently the e-bike will be more of the sort of aluminium standard looking e-bike, which is closer to their version 1 prototype, which I'll pop on the screen for you now. This is what the finished product should look like by the end of August 2023 when they launch the e-bike. But at the moment, their version 2 is a steel bike. And I just wanted you guys to see it because I actually think that Cotic should bring out this version, the steel bike with the battery underneath. I think it looks better. I think it's got a bit more of a niche. I think our steel-loving hardtailers...
Steel is real, isn't it?
Yeah, will really like this more. I don't know. Guys, let me know down below what you think of the aluminium version and the steel Cotic e-bike version, and which do you think they should be bringing out next year? Okay, it is quiz time. So, Rich, you're probably not familiar with this, but this is basically our pub quiz. It doesn't happen in a pub. It's like 8:30 in the morning and we're just drinking coffee.
Okay.
But let's crack on with it. So,
let's hit them with some questions.
Do you want to ask the first question?
I would love to.
Go on then.
Question numero uno. When was the Canyon Strive last updated? I feel like we've given you some solid clues for this. So if you get this one wrong, sort it out.
This is basically how we check that people are paying attention.
That's a good idea.
Question number 2. When did Jack Moyer, who is the 2021 series winner, start racing EWS?
Clue.
Do you know?
Yeah, it's further in the past than you think.
I think it's closer.
You reckon?
Unpopular opinion.
Okay. What is the name of the geometry and suspension changing system on the Strive?
Okay, it is comments time. So we basically bring our audience into the show, Rich, and we see what their thoughts were on last week's topics. So,
this sounds dangerous.
Yeah, last week we wondered if we could learn anything from roadies.
Even more dangerous.
You've learned a lot because you still wear road shoes on your enduro bike.
Yeah, definitely. Right? Disco slippers for life. Yeah.
So basically, let's go in with it. We've got Terry Fuston, or Fuston, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. He said that mountain bikes took a lot of tech from road bikes in the beginning. Now the tables have turned and road bikes have taken, or should I say stolen, a lot of tech from mountain bikes. They've taken disc brakes, one-up drivetrains, external bottom bracket cups. The list goes on.
Thieving buggers, eh?
Do you think they've stolen from us? Are we stealing from them?
It's a bit of give and take, innit?
We're all sharing. We're all on two wheels here. Let's not hate all cyclists.
So don't do it again. Rocket Boy X. As an old roadie who commutes on a mountain bike, the lack of consideration for aero on mountain bikes has always bothered me.
Does it bother you?
No.
Does it keep you awake at night?
No. But Rocket Boy X, if you want to get to work quicker, fair dues. I'll do that.
Well, Jonathan Z has replied to Rocket Boy X and said, well, making it a frame aero would do almost nothing.
Oh, mic drop.
Handlebar, fork, and tyres are the important part, and in MTB, you can't make a fork or massive tyre any more aero. It's got handlebars, though. So, are you familiar with the Scott integrated stem?
Yeah, I got one of my Canyon XC bikes with carbon integrated.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that there's a lot of racers out there, cross-country racers, who are having drop bar at the moment so that they can get into a more airy position.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that's the climbing and things as well, though, isn't it? Like, you know.
Is it?
Yeah, because when you've got the seat 14 foot in the air and you're climbing a really steep hill, if you don't drop the front, then you're just popping wheelies the whole way, which, as steezy as it is, ain't going to get you up the hill quick.
You must be performing a bit of an aero tuck, though, when
you're
on
you
racing.
Can still get down low. But
what about when you were doing enduro? If it was ever like a flat race field or whatever, you tuck, right?
Yeah, definitely. But
so it matters.
It's not marginal. But then marginal gains win it these days. That's why all the downhillers are back wearing their sisters' clothes, because they're that tight. So, hey ho. Right, I can't say this one. Scion 12?
Let's go with Scion 12. I like that.
Oh gosh, the wind tunnel testing seems like overkill. I doubt you can even reach the point where it becomes a significant variable. I mean, unless you're wearing clothes that catches wind, is it just delusional for a downhill or enduro racer where you sharp turn switchbacks, etc.?
I see what he's saying. He's saying, why do we need to be aero when courses are so technical? But
agreed.
I mean, downhill courses, they are quite open these days. I'm saying aero matters, otherwise
it does.
Canyon wouldn't be pumping money into putting Tiny Seagrave into an
exactly, and Bruni's done it, and lots of people have done it. And when times are separated by 14 squillionths of a second, it does actually matter. So. Yeah.
But maybe it doesn't matter for us who are just trail riding. Maybe that's
very true. Who have we got next?
Danny.I says, a fair few roadies are still behind the times with the rim brakes.
Keep up.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Balinix?
Let's go with Balinix. Yeah, Balinix.
Now that there's XC, downcountry, trail, all mountain, enduro, downhill, Darkfest, Rampage with hardtail, dual suspension, wheel size options in most categories, is there room for much more specialisation? Makes me sympathetic to the folks sidestepping it all and just riding a fat bike.
But isn't that is a category, is it not?
It is, because then you've got subcategories within that.
You do. You've got your rigid, you've got your full sus, you've got your bike packing, fat bikes. Yeah, okay, so in the show last week, I said that roadies have more of a rainbow rather than just categories. I think Balloon X is putting me in my place and saying we do have a rainbow.
Get down.
Mic drop. Well done, you. Jonathan Z says, e-racing for mountain biking, not going to be so he's talking about Zwift here.
Like online.
Zwift online racing. Not going to be like it is for Zwift races. A mountain bike race where you can't get hurt would be way different. And then it's like racing cars online and you get people who go rogue and wreck everything. Do you race any stuff online?
No, the last computer game I played was Super Mario on the SNES.
Yeah, I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, right. So, but I do Zwift now and again. And I have done the mountain bike tracks, but it's just not the same. It's not the same as riding a proper mountain bike, is it?
Well, obviously. Of course not. But neither is Zwift the same as riding a road bike. But it still keeps you fit.
It does keep you fit, and that's why I got there, because it's actually really a manageable way of doing your training. What
if when you can do car racing, you can get rumble zones and seats you can sit in and really feel like you're racing a car. What if our static bikes end up doing that and you get little rumbles over rock gardens and stuff?
Because it sounds like you need to.
Okay. We'll probably end it there.
Yeah. Well, no, it's quite funny because he's saying about wrecking others. I think that's where you just
crash into each other.
Imaginary car crashes into another imaginary car.
You can't do that on Zwift though. You can't.
No, you can't. It's weird. You just ride ghost style through each other. And stuff, Jonathan Z, you never know. Watch this space. Maybe I might pioneer something with my limited knowledge.
You heard it here first. Okay, it's time for top mods today, and I've got 2 top mods for you, Rich.
Hit me.
And I'm going to start off with this lovely Rocky Mountain Fusion. It's 2013 Fusion. Keith from North Vancouver has sent this in. It's his daughter's bike, pretty standard, but he's decided it was a bit scratched up, so he stripped it down and repainted it.
That's cool, isn't it? I do love a custom paint job.
Yes, yeah, you recently did a video, so check that out, guys.
Drop in there. Like
and Keith has taken some notes from Harry Potter here.
He's gone
because,
for a theme, isn't he?
Yeah, his daughter's a big Harry Potter fan, so he sprayed it up. I don't know, does that look like a Gryffindor style to you?
I was just going to say, guess what house he's in?
Yeah.
Gryffindor!
So he sprayed it up. He's even sprayed the forks as well. And
it's cool, isn't it, though?
I'm liking it. He's gone for a fade as well. Now, you've recently sprayed up a canyon hardtail, haven't you?
I did, yeah, my jump. But I went for a splatter.
You did.
A fade.
What are you saying about fades? You reckon that's hard? Like that looks hard to me.
It is hard because you got to obviously as you spray it, fade out the paint.
Yeah.
So the two merge together and it doesn't look too solid. It's cool. I like it. Good work.
I like it a lot. Well done,
Keith. Well, I'm chuffed with that.
Yeah, I would love to see a pic of her riding that. So you'll have to share it on social and tag us in that. I'd love to see that.
This next one's pretty trick, isn't it?
It is, and you might be mistaken for thinking, well, what's the top mod about this? But Lenny has bought an S-Works stump jumper 2016. He bought it, it was on cheap because the forks were broken on it.
Got it.
So he was like, well, let's get rid of that. Let's put some rigid forks in there and let's put some SRAM axis in there as well. So he's kept the weight down to nearly 7 kilograms, so 7.2 kilos.
But wait. Where are the shifters, Anna? Where's the shifter?
Well, it's axis, you see, and he's put the shifters on there, but he seems to have hacked them, and he's put these little buttons either side, so right by the grips.
Yep.
Just about
you can see it on the clamps, essentially. They look like
little buttons.
light buttons from an e-bike, I think.
Maybe. I've got no idea.
He hasn't really said, but I'm going to put my thinking hat on here and said there's a button either side that you can see, so one up, one down, because there's no dropper post, so he doesn't need the other side to run the dropper, I guess. That's quite sleek, isn't it, though? Really tidy. I've got something similar on one of my Canyons, the Zerbel shifters.
Oh, yeah?
Which hide away and make like the cleanest
because they basically look like the sort of lock ring for your grips almost, aren't they?
Into that,
and that's kind of what he's got going on here. What we're saying about shifting up and down with left and right, I mean, that makes me think of like a sort of an Audi S4 type stuff, paddle shifting,
like Tiptronic.
Yeah.
Full race mode, I like it. But 7.2 kilos.
Yeah.
That's light,
Rigid forks can help. Axis will help.
Good work, Lenny.
Yeah, Lenny, let us know how you modded those buttons. Where'd you get them from? What did you do?
If you're watching, geek out on that, wouldn't
for sure. Let us know in the comments below how you did that, because I'm sure there's a lot of viewers out there that want to know. Okay, it is time for the quiz answers. If you were paying attention, you should know all the answers to these. What we got?
Right, the first question, when was the Canyon Strive last updated? It was, of course...
2019.
Bingo, nailed it.
So, when did Jack Moyer of 2021 series EWS winning fame do his first EWS race? Actually, his first race was 2016. He was a downhill racer back then. He only did one that year, actually came 8th, which is pretty impressive. And then he did a couple in 2016, then nothing for a while, and then boom, 2020 decided he was going to go pro EWS, concentrated full on 2020, and then won the series the following year.
Not too shabby, Jack. Not too shabby at all, mate. And last but not least, what is the name of the geometry and suspension changing system on the Strive, Anna?
It's the shapeshifter, of course. We're on 2.0 now, and we're sticking with it.
I'm glad you've been paying attention for this quiz, because you nailed those answers. Good work.
Thanks. It's as if I wrote them. Well, thank you for watching the show today. As always, join the debate in the comments below. And, join us next week and give us a like if you've liked Rich being on the show. Or just like us anyway, because, I know you haven't liked him being here. It's been rubbish, but like us anyway.
Unbelievable. See you later, everybody, on that note.